Hey guys, and welcome back to episode number 10 of this 10-part episode series. We're on the last part, but I heard we have some bonus clips, but I'm not going to spoil it too much. You know it's a bonus clip coming up here. But yeah, we're on the way to the Oriath docks. We're on the way to kill Kitavr in Act 10 and then get ready for mapping. First question first, what about the third lab? Are you going to do that on the way, or is it just like something you pick up once you start mapping and once you savor? Because it's still like a 68 zone or something.
So that's completely dependent on how comfortable you feel. As a miner, you saw how we one-shot most of the bosses. So we're gonna go ahead and do lab right before we progress on to Gatava. So you'll see that at the very end of Act 10. If I'm speedrunning, for example, I won't take Merc Lab till about 74 or so usually. But that's completely dependent on how impactful the node is. Some classes don't even really need Merc Lab to do super well.
Because it's like important to know that if you're doing a lab before Kitavr, you're still gonna have the 30% extra resistance basically. Because once you kill Kitavr Act 10, you're dropping another 30%. If you're not rest camped afterwards, you need to fix that anyways before you start mapping. You're just gonna have an easier time if your character will be capable of doing that.
Yep. Something to note here in Cathedral Rooftop is you actually don't have to talk to Vanden, so as soon as we kill Plaguewing, we just exit the area. But going back to the resist reduction thing, ideally, farming Act 9 Blood Aqueduct is going to give us the gear we need to cap our resistances. If you're playing in Trade League, you can go ahead and just buy some nice rings, some nice amulets, hopefully, maybe some extra nice little gear that you need for your build. Just anything to cap out your res to 105%.
So I think that I was basically explaining what I'm doing. Like as soon as I kill Kitavr, before I start mapping, that's the first character revamp that I'm basically doing. But this is just softcore things, I guess. Or you say like, okay, now I'm ready to map. I have a couple of maps dropped already, so let's fix the resistance. Let's get a healthy life pool to just start running those.
Right. Same concept as the skill point in Act 5 here. We're going to go ahead and go back to the portal eventually, but for now we're just going to continue on ahead. So we're going to grab the waypoint, then we're going to portal back. Otherwise, we have to run through this entire zone again to get to this waypoint. I mean, so this waypoint's super important. Make sure not to forget it.
The good thing here is that this layout is always the same. So you always know that the guy with the skill point, I don't know, this weird bat dude, is always on the left side. Then on the bottom side, you have is the ossuary? No, the ossuary is where the waypoint is, but the other part where you have like to collect the Kitavr's tear or whatever it is, the teardrop. So it's always a fixed layout here, so it's easy to read at least.
If you need a new belt, like your belt is like really bad, you can go in and do the tier belt or the tier quest, because that's where you get a nice leather belt or crystal belt, I suppose, and they're always rare. So, but I'll only opt to do that if my belts are really, really bad.
Okay, question. What is the name of this boss? Was it Vilenta?
Vilenta.
Ah, it was Vilenta.
Yep. This is one of the scarier bosses. The little like drive-by bomb dropping thing is can be a little bit scary. You can't like TP out for it. It doesn't work like that with immunity phases. But at least I don't believe it is. But usually you'll just flame dash around the arena, leap slam, smoke mine.
Yeah, best way to do is just constantly keep on moving. So even if you get touched by the skill, you're just running right out of it again. The drive-by. But yeah, with Ice Cycle mines, it's like so easy to clear full screens. And then the Pyroclast mine to do the single target. It's just a really, really nice setup here. And you already have your Pyroclast mines there to just skip the phase once more. That's like perfect timing there. And
yeah, this part of the fight is the scariest.
And since I kind of failed on it, the current timer is 3 hours 5 minutes, if you are wondering what time it is. Not local time, run time. So basically, in the 3 hours, we did like 2 laps, all the side quests, everything is actually ready to go. So it's basically just like, yeah, let's quickly do Kitavr and start grinding the maps, basically.
Yeah, so here's where we're gonna pick up. We're gonna pick up our last trial for Merc Lab. We're gonna run on ahead and kill that boss, give the stuff to Bandit, and then we're going to go ahead and do lab. I think I misread the zone really badly though. Yeah, I should have just gone up here, but that's alright. Sometimes you misread. It's okay because on League Start you'll just get a little bit extra XP for your efforts.
I personally, I would like go straight and then go bot side. So from my perspective, it looks right. But as you say, like it probably is on the top side. But now I would move downstairs for this zone here. Okay, this is where I would be trapped. Oh god. But
yeah,
it's actually
at
rare.
the north side.
Isn't like most of the time for me personally, it is on the right side.
Right. That's what I just assumed it would be. But there's a hideout, so.
Probably that's the
gonna be over
indicator
here.
if it's not there. But yeah.
And then I was like, maybe it's the wall side area. I don't know, dude. Wall side areas do tend to mess up certain layouts.
Mm.
There are a few that they don't affect, but quite a lot that they change dramatically.
You're just flame dash, smoke mine through. Nothing
Yep.
too hard.
Here we save our charges so that we can just blink and not get hit by anything in the middle. Same concept here. We're just gonna try to blink to these sides, and after that we make sure we have all the trials. And here we're gonna get our 2 respec points, just to make it a little bit nicer. We dropped an obliteration wand. That's some nice currency on day 1. You know, I'm not gonna use that as a minor, but
This
here,
is exactly what I would want to have in the league start. For
Yep.
my upcoming build. Going to be dual obliteration.
Oh, fuck you. Maybe you can buy it off me then. Hard Russell Stefan. But yeah, going on ahead, we opt to kill this boss so that we can get the 4-link level 65 chest piece. We can't quite equip it, but we will be able to soon. And then after that we do lab, and we finish up with the Gadava.
Just like that. I mean, easy clap. There's nothing that can go wrong here, right?
Well,
Depends on
Pretty
the
much.
player.
yeah.
Depends
User
on the
maybe.
player.
Charge courts is also another area that can be a little bit scary. There's lots of proximity shields here, so you need to be wary of that. Single like elite with like nearby allies deal extra damage will, you know, that pack can one tap you a good portion of the time.
What we have seen on a lot of rip clips throughout the league starts from previous leagues and so on. Like these zones are kinda nasty.
Yep. So just take it a little bit slower, a little bit safer, and you'll be good.
It's like the worst thing if you're hardcore solo self on racing and you die in Act 10 and you're like, fuck. Sometimes it's really either like spend a couple seconds more if you feel insecure or unsafe. Than just like, whatever, it's a race, we need to be the first. Because if you die now, you're a 10 acts behind, basically.
Right. Pretty much everybody else will be closing in on Act 10 at this point.
It's actually sad that the like the Innocence fight is so much harder than the one in Act 9, where you just like basically one-tap that dude and you just keep on going. Like,
Yeah.
I would like if they would swap that, so it's easier in Act 4 and it gets harder in Act 9.
You
But yeah,
mean
it's-
easier in Act 5 and harder in Act 10?
5, I mean, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I kind of agree with that. I mean, I don't like Innocence in Act 5 at all, so I wish it was just removed and we got the same version for Act 5 as we already have in Act 10, but I mean, it would be a little bit silly, I guess, at this point.
But just compare it, this guy's a joke here.
Yeah, this boss, especially after Blood Aqueduct farming, is not too noticeable. You know, we'll just stack up, detonate, and he's gone. So again, we'll grab our chest piece, grab our other stuff, and if you noticed, I swapped out the silver flask for a quartz flask. This is just to make me a little bit safer. This chest piece is really good. It has 50 life resist on it of 30%, and it has an open suffix. So we're going to go ahead and craft our last resist on that.
And also perfect coloring and thinkings.
Yep. But again, going with the same base type, even if it wasn't 2B, 2G, we would still be able to use it because we could just chrome it around.
Mm.
Here you can see that I go for the Lightning Rescraft, and I go for the higher tier one for 3C. You wouldn't do this in a trade league. You would just use the one alchemy one. But since I'm so found, I don't have much use for it anyways.
That's true, yeah. Saying like if you find an
Look,
Exalted Ore, you're just gonna use it at some point anyways, cause where's the reason keeping it, you know? It's like...
Exactly.
You know, obviously, if you're used to play softcore or trade league, no matter if softcore or hardcore, once you find an Exalted Orb, you're like happy and oh god, I got an Exalted Orb, but then you realize I'm solo self, I cannot use anything with it, so you're just gonna try to get any good piece of gear and hope for the best slam that you can get.
Exactly.
So, on to the third lab, 68 zone. Like, are you actually scared of like dying here somewhere in the trappy zone or something, or is it just like practice as well? Like, it's just lab.
I'd say it's practice as well. It's just lab. If you've ever farmed Uber Lab for like a month or something, these layouts are pretty easy to remember. I still mess them up quite a bit because I'm not used to Merc Lab, but that's just because, you know, usually in speedrunning to like, you know, 75, 80, that kind of thing, we'll either do no lab, one lab, or two labs. So it's very rare that I actually have the time to go run the third lab. But you would on a league start. So if you just, I recommend most people to do Uber Lab farming at some point, just so you can get familiar with the layouts of lab, since they're pretty similar from day to day.
So, if you're playing hardcore trade league, do you like, after getting to maps and getting all your trials done for the Uber Lab, do you particularly say like, okay, in the next 2 days I'm just strictly farming labs, or?
So on a league start, one extra thing that I do that allows me to generate a lot of extra currency is I'll do my Merc Lab, I'll go do maps, I'll do my trials, and usually I'll solo self on my trial. Maybe I'll find the last one off a friend or something, you know, put it on my friends list, looking for the last trial. But you know, usually a lot of my friends aren't quite at that point. So usually I'll just solo self on my first 6 trials. You know, it'll take about 10 hours or so, perfectly fine. And what I do at that point is I'll run all 6 labs, so I can drop gems, I can drop uniques, and I can drop lots of other things that are worth a decent amount of currency. On top of that, you can also get some red tier maps from lab. So pretty much everything that drops from there is going to be super valuable early on. The reason why I like running it so much is all those quality gems are worth quite a bit of money, and it's nice to have a nice little stock, like a little bit of a, you know, inventory, if you will, of quality gems. So I like to have you know, a stash tab for like, you know, gems for like 3 chaos or so, and you know, you'll actually sell quite a few of them early on, especially if they're higher quality. So
Well, this is, for some reason, this is what I do myself. Like, I usually never buy gems with quality. Like, the thing I do is, like, in the first couple of days of the league, you're gonna farm a shit ton of maps anyways, right? At a certain point, your gems will hit level 20. You're gonna weaken yourself a bit once you revert the level 20 gem with the vendor recipe, that they are level 1 again, but 20% quality. So I always try to have my final setup here.
yeah, usually with these, you just sell the quality gems. People will buy them pretty expensive. Not sure why, but you know. The recipe you're talking about is you'll sell a level 20 gem with a GCP, and you'll get back a level 1 of the same version of the gem, but it'll be 20 quality. Usually you don't want to do this on your main damage skill, so like if you're using Icicle Mines, for example, I would level up a second Icicle Mines in my inventory or in my offhand, or just like, you know, 6 gems in my offhand, so that they gain XP. But in this case, I just have a bunch of other random gems leveling here and there. So if you don't have a backup for your main gem, so something like Icicle Mine, Stormblast, you know, Orb Storms, that kind of thing, then I would just GCP down everything else and not my main setup. So I wouldn't GCP down the Pyroglass mines unless I had a backup, for example.
Well, I mean, it's easy at some point that you just have a weapon swap, anything where you can just level up your main gems as well. But as I said, in the start, you're mapping a shit ton of anyways, and it's like easy to get those gems at level 20. They're not Empower gems or non-support gem plus that we are going to see in 3.9 that are having... I think they need even more experience than an Empower gem, so it's going to be massive getting one of those new gems up to level 6, I think, and then you have to need the boss to Val them for level 7. But these gems are going to be so nasty.
Yeah, they're going to be big. I'm looking forward to them.
Yeah, I still, like, we saw the added cold damage, for example. And what I see, I think the level 1 added Cold Plus is the same strength as a level 23 of the normal version, but you still have the +1 cold damage to all skills, right? It's like insanely strong, and I hope they're gonna bring that one for an added Chaos Plus as well, because on Chaos skills or on spell skills in general, like base level of skills will determine so much of your damage. But we still haven't gotten a list of the full. I think it's 35 support gems will get the plus version as well.
Yeah, that's pretty big. Here we pre-trap for Zaro again. We're gonna flame dash to proc Arcane Surge, and he just goes down. Triple P day. Again, I'm gonna run through. I'm gonna grab, just click on all the chests, and then grab my Ascendancy node. There we go. That way it prevents against any disconnect or that sort of thing. Very off to pick up all the rares for the most part. Just trying to look for any last minute gearing before I go on to maps.
Wow, that belt.
And I find that belt. And I need a little bit of strength, but I opt just to take out one little passive point, put it into a big strength node. If you find that you're missing a lot of stats anywhere, you can feel free to put your passive point into one of the large notable skill points, or stat points as I like to call them. That's like your plus 30 strength, plus 30 dexterity, or plus 30 int. Those nodes are really nice for fixing up your stats if you're missing one.
But that belt is huge. Like, so much life, double resistance. Actually insane.
Here I make sure that I have a 105% res, and we go on to Gatava.
And you could keep on going, trying to get the mana flask, and you still haven't gotten it. So much currency wasted. Well, yeah. It's a gambling. So we're currently on 3 hours and 18 minutes right now.
Yep.
And you're about to hit Kitava. So would you say in average, like, this was like a very good run, or is it like the average, or how do you?
I'd say it's kind of slow. I'm like you can visibly see a lot of the mistakes that I'm making. So I'd say it's okay. We didn't get adrenaline. We didn't get like anything super fancy. So.
Which is kind of good actually for this episode, or for this video in general, because if you would find something very strong or something like, then people would be like, yeah, he's just way much faster because he got this and that item. So you got none of these actually, and you're still doing insanely well. So think about it. If you're finding some very good items like an Adrenaline Quicksilver Flask early on, and you're still slower, there's a lot of improvements to make.
Yeah. I always recommend people to compare themselves against their own times and not so much speedrunners. Just because what tends to happen is people will be like, okay, you finished Act 1 in 15 minutes. I have to finish Act 1 in 15 minutes. And like, okay, I finished it in 30 minutes. Let me study it again. And like, okay, I can do Act 1 in 26 minutes. And like, I just can't get it down to 15. And then they tend to quit. I always recommend just set your beating your own times as the goalpost, and keep racers' times in the back of your head maybe, of just what's possible, and that way you can learn from them, learn from your own mistakes, and get better over time.
Exactly, yeah.
These two zones in particular are a little bit scary. If you encounter like a rare pack that gives extra damage, extra crit, that kind of stuff, you can get one-shotted pretty easily depending on your life pool, but as I stated earlier, we have over 2,400 life, so I'm feeling pretty confident. And here comes Kitava.
The good old Kitava.
And he's faced out.
Did you stop watching? What is that?
Yeah, I don't want them to nerf the skill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Wow.
The skill's fine, by the way.
And it could buff it a little bit. I mean, quite long.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit underutilized, you know.
But the damage is insane, dude. The heart phase, the heart is actually pretty tanky and has a lot of life. But you're just popping it like just a white pack.
Yeah, so here I go back for the mana flask. I don't go through that portal because it's on top of that little red thing. If you're not doing as much DPS, you can opt to kill the ads first. The ads, particularly the champion packs, will be fairly difficult to kill, and they're the scariest part of the heart phase.
It's actually, yeah, well, you make it look so goddamn easy. I mean, it's different if you're playing it yourself, but It is actually not hard. If you have that much that much DPS, you're skipping so much stuff, so it gets more and more safe actually.
Right.
There we
And here's the
go.
last card, please.
Down.
And we have 105 res, so we're map ready and good to go.
It's like a big firework if you're seeing all of that laying on top of each other. It's like, hey, we're done. Holy shit. And yeah, Deathless. I mean, obviously, Deathless, you're used to play hardcore, so we're currently at 3 hours, 21 minutes, and Key Tower is down, and we're ready to map. Your gear is actually really good, even though it's all self-found. And yeah, so now you're just talking to the NPCs, get your last skill points. You've done all the skill point side quests, so you're actually really ready to go. This would actually be your league start as well, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Holy shit. And now we have one bonus coming up.
Yep, it's coming tomorrow.
We're gonna do it now, or I want to do an episode 11? Let's do an episode 11, so we really have every single act strictly coming up. So make sure to stay tuned. We have a bonus clip coming up. So guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. The next video.